Hi there. Welcome to the Mountain of God. My name is Kamil. Today is 14th of May 2021. Welcome to video number 24. Today I want to talk about another kind of very interesting but not so well understood gift, which is the gift of faith. I want to talk about it because not many people are talking about it, but it's very, very, very interesting and deep gift that you can get. And if I have to summarize it in just one simple sentence, I would say that gift of faith is like you being faithful, being able to believe what God is telling you to, I don't know how big a degree. This is the gift that allows you to trust Him in the most bizarre and crazy situations you will find yourself in. And there are three major ways that this gift might be tested, or how you've been, what will happen when you'll be asked to to trust Him. First of all, there will be the situations when, kind of like with the gift of prophecy, when God is telling you that something is going to happen, and then He asks you, so now believe me that it's going to happen. Be patient and be faithful. And we've seen ton of situations, and if you're one of those with this gift of faith, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you got a prophecy, maybe you just read something in the Bible that touched you, and you know that you just have to be faithful. And this is great. It will test you a lot. That's very interesting to see like a miracles happening in your life. There's a second way that is going to be much more used towards people with this gift. The gift of faith will be tested when the situations will be crazy and bizarre. Because if you are tested in the gift of faith, it says that it's going to require a larger amount of faith for you to be able to go through this. So that is why, if you are one of these people, you'll find yourself in situations that are unusual, that are bizarre, that are crazy. It's one of the great examples of that is Moses and the whole miracles that happened in Egypt, starting with the staff turning into snake, through all those frogs and blood and darkness, ending in death of the firstborn. When we reading this story, we say, yeah, we know how it's going to end. It's going to be amazing, right? But try to put yourself in his shoes. He was writing that story. So you see, this is what I would expect in comparison to other gifts, other people. If you have a gift of faith, God will take you through some craziness. He'll kind of like to try to expand your ability to trust Him by putting you in very, very unexpected situations. Because the more unexpected situation, the more it will require faith, and the bigger the reward, I would say. But at point number 3, you see, there are situations that you were not told what to do. And then you'll have to be faithful. What then? And these are the situations where for some reason, and people who have this will understand how it works, we're going to talk about it in a second, you have to know what to do. Because there are like two situations. One, you can see Elijah. As far as I know, Elijah and the story of the priests of Baal and Elijah bringing down fire from heaven, it's a very good example of the situation that went well. Because you see, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen, or I don't remember him being told, you're going to go to that mountain, there are going to be people, and this or that are going to happen, then you're going to call and I'm going to bring down the fire from heaven. As far as I know, he just ended up there. He saw what's going on, and he said, well, I think I'm going to have to play this game. So he basically had faith, and even more, he poured the water on this whole thing. So it would be really a miracle if this will ever anyhow get burned. And it did, if you know the story. So you see, this is exactly the situation. When you put yourself in his shoes, what would you do? That's why, again, I believe that he had a gift of faith. Because the second situation that I heard of is kind of crazy. There were people on a mission trip, and there was flooding. There was a huge river that they were being separated with in between their camp and where they were. And there are a few people who just decided they're going to pray. They prayed and they said that we're going to walk on water and go to our mission camp. And unfortunately, as far as I know, the river, kind of swept them and they all died. And there's a question. How do you see the difference in between situation when you drown and nothing happens, or the other way around, the situation when you bring the fire from heaven, or the situation that you drown? And you see, this is one of the secrets of the gift of faith that not many people understand, and that's why I'm talking about it. The gift of faith, like gift of prophecy, is based on your ability to talk to your Father. Because many times, and especially in situation of the gift of faith, you'll be given understanding what you're supposed to do right there on the spot. You don't know where you're going, you don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to be put in a situation when you have to be faithful, that you don't know what's going to happen, and you have to be there, and then out of nowhere, you feel. That's why if you don't have this really deep relationship with your Father and ability to communicate with them, it might end up badly. That's why the gift of faith will be tested in crazy way, in bizarre situations, but you'll have to be able to go through that to learn to trust Him even more than maybe other ordinary Christians. And there are a few things that might help you. One of the things might be the situation that, the first things that God showed you. And I had this situation in 2002, I think. My wife and I, we were on work and travel in United States. And right before our going back home to Poland, we tried to get an apartment. Our friends were trying to help us and so on. And we got everything. Everything was prepared. Awesome. We're going not long from now. And then out of nowhere, I get a phone call that the whole thing crashed and burned and we don't have a place to go. And we kind of got worried because, it would be good to have a place to go. And then I remember, because I had 30 minutes to an hour in between my shifts when I was working there, I was able to go home, eat something, and many times pray. And I remember I walked into the big room that we had there in that apartment, and I started to pray, and I said, God, I trust you that everything is going to be fine. And I went kind of crazy towards really giving Him praise and saying, everything's going to be fine, I trust you, because you will never let us down. And interestingly enough, in a day or two, we got two messages, or I got two messages. One, information that everything's fine, everything's covered, and we had a place to go, even though as far as I remember it was a different place, but everything just sorted out in a day or two. And second, a very interesting thing. My friend called me, and she said she is an intercessor. She said, I had a dream or a vision that you were standing against a huge, like a scorpion thing, and you were so little comparison to it, and you got your sword and fight against it and basically defeated it. And I said, wow, that was interesting for me, basically a young Christian, to hear something like this just few days after I had a battle which was important for us. And that was something that kind of helped me later on to whatever happens, just trust. Whatever happens, just be grateful that He is here, He's never going to let us down. And interestingly, it helped me to overcome much bigger problems than that one. Second thing that I want you to know, how do you think that your training going to look like? I want you to understand that, especially if you're one of those who are interested in the gift of faith. It's going to be a crazy ride. You've got to understand that if you're going to be put in a crazy position, in bizarre situations that you will have to be faithful in, and knowing what to do, even though nobody told you what's supposed to happen, and God didn't prophesy to you in any way to tell you what's going to happen, I want you to understand that because of that training is going to be crazy. Many people who are around you, they won't understand what's going on. Many of those people won't know what are you doing and how you're dealing with all of this. Many of them will tell you straight to the face that, you're doing it wrong. You shouldn't supposed to do that. It's a wrong way to do this. But then, if you decide to be faithful, you're going to go exactly the opposite of what they're saying. And that's one of the things you've got to understand. Being on a ride, on a training of the gift of faith is like going through special operation boot camp or some really hardcore survival camp or training. Normal people would never do this. Normal people would never understand why you even decided to do that. But because you were chosen to get this gift, you will go through this. You will overcome all of this. You will be, at the end of the day, you will become much stronger than you ever thought. And you'll be able to pull off stuff that no normal, ordinary Christian will. Why? Because you've got a gift of faith and you've been trained. And it's not shocking to you that it's gonna be a bizarre experience. But another thing, but maybe as a side note, maybe it's gonna be useful for those of you who are going through some stuff and you've got a gift of faith. What I've kind of discovered, there's what I called out of in investment world, a rule which I called two bottom rule. When you've got an issue and something start happening and you see, okay, that is start training me in something. Everything crumbles, everything goes down, and you have to go through all of this and find a way. At some point in time, which may take you a week, a month, a day, it doesn't matter, then you start to see the light of the tunnel. You start to see that everything starts to becoming solvable. But then like few minutes before this whole thing coming to fruition, everything crumbles even more. Everything's basically goes south. Everything just crashes and burns, making this whole situation even more crazy, even more bizarre. But then if you're going to keep your faith in that situation, with this problem, you'll understand that your faith is going to go exponentially, and the solution will be like an equivalent to the craziness of the problem. If you're going to go through a few of those, you'll understand that you can always expect second wave to come, because it will, and you can expect that the situation will be much more crazy than it is right now because of the second wave. But then at the end of this whole thing, you will see your faith growing much, much higher than ever, your trust being confirmed, and solution being many times something like a miracle or something like a really very, very crazy coincidence. And then because of that, you'll start to see that you trust him even more. So listen, this is what I want you to take from this video. Gift of faith is more than just believing. Because you've been given an amount of faith which is larger than somebody else's, like a normal Christian. Because there is a specific reason. You've got a calling that they require from you, trusting, and having this deep relationship with your Father, no matter what happens. It's going to be a crazy ride, and you can expect to be misunderstood or even see people going against you just because they don't understand what you're doing, they don't understand what you're going through, and they don't understand how you'll be able to see the result being positive. And I'm saying that for those of you who want this gift of faith, just as a asterisk or warning, so you would know what you're trying to put yourself into. And for those of you who have this gift and going through some kind of situations bizarre, like I said, I want this video to be encouragement. I want this video to be this word for you just keep on believing. Keep on. Just don't think, don't overthink. Just believe. Because you know that especially if you're in the second wave, crazy things going to happen, but he will come with some miracle solution, and at the end of the day he will say a great job. So listen, think about it and do something about it. Because one thing that you'll find out at the end of the day, to be able to really function, or as I like to say, be fluent in the gift of faith, you'll have to have a really deep relationship with your Father and not being afraid of bizarre situations to be able to deal with. Many times in two waves. But at the end of the day, what you'll learn is that your relationship is going to be much deeper than ever. Your trust is going to be much deeper than ever. And you'll feel His presence in your life to the point that your flesh will feel Him every day, every moment, every second of your day. And because of that, you understand that no matter what happens, no matter where you are, you always feel like home. If you liked this video, like, share, and comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to do it for you. That being said, see you tomorrow.